Never said that before. All right, today we are taking notes on writing equations of parabolas, which we have done that already, but we've written equations of parabolas, say, from another equation, like it just wasn't in standard form, and so we converted it to standard form. So what we're doing today, we're still writing equations of parabolas in standard form, but when given a graph or given two pieces of information, like the focus and vertex or something, okay? So that's how it's different than what we've already done. So for the topic, just to keep it less confusing, and because I'm going to title the video the same way, and the way that I posted it on Schoology, I titled it the same thing because I already have one for writing equations of parabolas. So that's why I'm being extra with the title. So writing equations of parabolas when given a graph or two other pieces of information about the graph. I guess that I could have said two characteristics or what ifs. Okay. Writing equations of parabolas, vertical parabolas. That's either the ones that are opening up or the ones that are opening down. Those are the vertical parabolas. And we know the standard form, that's when your x is squared. If they open up or down, that's when the x is squared. So we already know standard form for a vertical parabola is x minus h, quantity squared, equals 4p times the quantity of y minus k. We're already very familiar with that. We know that a horizontal parabola, that's when your parabola either opens to the right or opens to the left. And when it opens to the right or the left, the y is being squared, not the x. So standard form for a horizontal parabola is y minus k quantity squared equals 4p times the quantity of x minus h. And we also know that the absolute value of p is the distance from the vertex to the focus and directrix. All right, so we know that when we write an equation, we know we have to fill in a number for h, a number for k. So we know we get that from the vertex, right? And we have to plug in a number here for 4p. So that's going to be 4 times whatever p is. And remember, p is the distance from the vertex to the focus and the vertex to the directrix. It's the same on both sides, okay? So I kind of like try to help myself by making me a little cheat sheet over here on the side to remember, okay, p is going to be positive if it's this or negative if it's this, okay? So if we're given the graph of a vertical parabola, if it opens up, your p is greater than 0. So that means you're going to have, p is going to be positive. Because any number greater than 0 is positive, right? If your graph opens down, you're going to have a p that's less than 0. So obviously p is going to be negative. If we have a horizontal parabola, if it opens to the right, we know that p is greater than 0. So p will be positive. And if it opens to the left, p is less than 0. So we know that p will be negative. Julio? All right, let's look at number 1. Okay, first of all, let me figure out what that vertex is. So number 1, the vertex is at 1, 0. So H is 1, K is 0. Okay, it opens down. So we know we're going to use the formula for the vertical parabola, the one where the x is squared. And we also know, since it opens down, that P is going to be negative. Okay, well, let's figure out what is P. Okay, so we know that P is the distance from the vertex to the focus or the vertex to the directrix. Well, since they gave us the focus, let's figure out what that distance is. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So P equals, but because it opens down, then it's going to be a negative number, right? So yeah, the distance is always positive, but if it opens up, P is going to be positive. If it opens down, P is going to be negative. So we know that P is equal to -4. All right, so I like to always, because I mean, I know a lot of kids are like, I don't want to write all that. That's too much to write. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care to write. Like, it doesn't bother me. I like to write more. More is better because I just like to be more, I like to have it all there. So I always like to rewrite the equation that I'm using above my equation just so it's there. So, I mean, I realize it's literally right there, but x minus h quantity squared equals 4p times y minus k. Okay, I know what h and k are. I need to figure out what 4p is. So 4p would be 4 times -4, which is -16. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be plugging in for 4p. Don't just plug in p. It's 4 times whatever p is. And you got to make sure you know if p is positive or negative. All right. So first set of parentheses, x minus 1 quantity squared equals, we already found that 4p is -16 times y minus 0. Okay, now real quick, are we going to want to put y minus 0? No, y minus 0 is just y, correct? So don't leave it like that. You want to leave it like x minus 1 quantity squared equals -16y. And like y'all been doing when you do your assignment, highlighting it or putting a box around your answer, that really, really, really saves me time on grading. And I really do appreciate it. Even if you don't have a highlighter, a box or a cloud or a circle or a something. Super helpful. Julio? Okay, number 2. Let me figure out what my vertex is. So my vertex, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, comma, -2. So H is -5, K is -2. We know vertex is at H, K. Should be ingrained in our brain by now. We also know that this parabola is opening towards the right. So we will be using the formula for horizontal parabolas. And parabolas that open to the right, your P is greater than 0. So our P is going to be positive. Okay, so P, since they gave me the vertex and a focus, I'll just count from the vertex to the focus. It's 1 unit. And I'm going to call it +1 because P is positive when it opens to the right. But for my equation, I need to know what 4P is, right? So that'd be 4 times 1. So for 4p, I'll substitute in 4. Y'all cool with that? All right, so since I'm using the standard form of a horizontal parabola, that's y minus k, quantity squared, equals 4p times x minus h. So this is y minus k. So that's going to be y minus a negative 2. So that is why we change it to y plus 2 quantity squared. 4 times p we've already found is 4 times x minus h. In this case, it's going to be x minus negative 5, which we will change to x plus 5. When you subtract negative, it becomes positive. That looks good. I'm in standard form. Coolio. Am I going too fast or are we good? We've done so much work with these that I don't feel like I gotta like over explain. All right, number 3, we can see it's opening to the left. So we know p is going to be negative, but let me find what this vertex is. It looks like -1, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Vertex. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's +1, -7, not -1. So my h is 1, my k is -7. This time they didn't give us the focus, they gave us the directrix, but that's okay because the distance from the vertex to the focus is the same as the distance from the vertex to the directrix. So still, that's in this case, p would be 1, but because it opens to the left, p is going to be less than 0, so we know p is -1. And that's where I'm afraid y'all are going to mess up when you're writing the equations. That's the only part that I'm worried about. I'm not worried, but the only part that I foresee issues, just making sure is it positive or negative. But for our equation, we need to know what 4p is. So that would be 4 times -1, which is -4. Okay, since this opens to the left, it's a horizontal parabola. So we use y minus k quantity squared equals 4p times x minus h. So that's going to be y plus 7 quantity squared equals -4 times x minus 1. Everybody good? All right, number 4. My vertex is -1, -1, -2, -3, -4, comma, -1, -2, -3. So h is -4, k is -3. This time they gave me the vertex and the directrix. So to find p, I'm going to count from the vertex to the directrix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So p equals, and it opens up, and it opens up, so p is positive. So p is equal to 7. But in the formula, I need to find 4p. So that's 4 times 7. So for that part of the equation, it'll be 28. All right, since this opens up, it's a vertical parabola. So we use x minus h, quantity squared, equals 4p times y minus k. So our answer is x plus 4 quantity squared equals 28 times y plus 3. Everybody good? All right, so that's what you do when you are given the graph of a parabola and you are trying to write it in standard form, okay? Now, on the rest of this page, they give you different things. The vertex and the focus, the vertex and the directrix, the focus and the directrix, and the very last two, the endpoints of the lattice rectum, and the fact that it opens up. We're not doing all that. I'm gonna go all the way to 16, but not today, okay? So let's do 5 through 10 today, and that will conclude the first part of the notes. Tomorrow we'll do 11 through 16, and that will conclude the second part of the notes, and that will be the last notes I give you all year. And then we'll have that's today, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll have an assignment Thursday, and that'll be our last assignment. Cool? Okay. All right, so for these, you may be able to think about this in your head, but me personally, I like to just draw myself a little graph. Yes, totally, Joma. Easy so far. I like to draw myself a little graph because I'm a visual person and I need to like visualize it. So, and I'm not doing it exactly, but if you wanted to use graph paper, you could. All right, so my vertex is at -2, -10. So I'm just like estimating. So that's my vertex, -2, -10. And the focus is at -2, -9. So is this going to open up or down? It's going to open up. So we know that it's going to open up. We know the vertex, so we know H, we know K. To write the equation, what else do we need to know? P. We need to know what P is. So since they gave us the vertex and the focus, look at those Y values. My vertex had a Y value of -10. My focus had a Y value of -9. So what's the distance between the two? 1, and it opens up. So is P positive or negative? Positive. So P is +1. So we know 4P is going to be what? 4, because 4 times 1 is 4. Do we have what we need to have to write the equation? Okay, so this opens up. So this is a vertical parabola where we use x minus h quantity squared equals 4p times y minus k. So that is x plus 2 quantity squared equals 4 times y plus 10. Julio? All right, number 6, they say your vertex is at -7, -1. And the focus is at -10, -1. The vertex is -7, -1. So does this open up, down, left, or right? To the left, because the focus is inside the vertex, right? So the vertex tells us our H and our K. We need to figure out what P is. So if the vertex has an x value at -7 and the focus has an x value of -10, what's the distance between those? -7 and -10. How many jumps did I make to get from -7 to -10? 3. And because it opens left, it's going to be negative, right? So P is -3. But for our equation, we need to know what 4P is. So 4 times -3, that's going to be -12. So this is a horizontal parabola. So we use y minus k, quantity squared, equals 4P times the quantity of x minus h. So y minus k would be y plus 1, quantity squared, equals 4P is -12. For x minus h, we'll use x plus 7. Everybody cool? Maybe we'll just do through 8 today, because those are all the same as what we're doing right now. And then we'll do 9 through 16 tomorrow. All right, number 7. Okay, gotta love when they give us fractions. First of all, 7/2 is, I like to do a decimal, so that's 3.5, right? So 3.5, 8 for the focus. So let me make myself a little cheat sheet also over here on the side, so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Y'all probably have it memorized, but I like to make my notes very thorough. So for vertical parabolas, standard form is x minus h quantity squared equals 4P times the quantity of y minus k. If it opens up, P is greater than 0, meaning it's positive. If it opens down, P is less than 0, so we know P is negative. For horizontal parabolas, standard form is y minus k quantity squared equals 4P times the quantity of x minus h. If the parabola opens to the right, we know P is greater than 0, so it's positive. And if it opens to the left, we know P is less than 0, so we know P is negative. Right, same info as the front side. I just like it to be where I can see it. All right, so number 7, the vertex is at 2, 8. The 2, 8. And the focus is at 3.5, 8. So this is the vertex, this is the focus. So what way is my parabola going to open? To the right. And the vertex has an x value of 2. The focus has an x value of 3.5. So what is the distance between 2 and 3.5? 1.5. And if it opens to the right, we know it's positive, right? So P is 1.5. 4P is going to be 4 times 1.5, which is 6. All right, so if it opens to the right, it is horizontal. So we use y minus k, quantity squared, equals 4p times x minus h. All right, so my vertex was 2, 8. H is 2, k is 8. So for y minus k, we will do y minus 8 quantity squared equals 4p is 6 times x minus 2. Everybody good? All right, number 8, they gave us a vertex, so we know our h and our k. So the vertex is at -5, 4. And the focus is at -5, 1/2. Wait, -5, -1/2. So is this going to open up, down, left, right, what? Down. So to find P, we need to find the distance between the focus, or the vertex and the focus. So the vertex has a y value of 4. The focus has a y value of -0.5. So what's the distance from 4 to 0 and then 0 to -0.5? What would the distance be? 4.5. And because it opens down, is it going to be positive or negative? Negative. So P is -4.5. Because you got 4 here and then another half is 4.5. So we need to know what 4p is. So 4 times -4.5 is going to give me -18. Now this opens down, so this is going to be a vertical parabola. So we use x minus h quantity squared equals 4p times y minus k. All right, so x minus h is going to be x plus 5 quantity squared equals -18 times y minus 4. All right, and so tomorrow we'll pick up with number 9 through 14. Number 9 through 16 give us the focus and the directrix. So we pretty much do it the same thing way. We just have to remember that they're giving us the focus or the directrix, not the focus. And so we'll finish that tomorrow, the notes tomorrow, and then I won't give you an assignment over this until Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Okay. So for the rest of today, please just go check student portal, see what it is that you owe me, see what it is that you can turn in. Remember, if it's late, you get 60% maximum credit, but 60% is better than a 0. And get that finished up. Okay, so we are almost finished with the last things that we're going to be doing. All right, so everybody at home, you are welcome to log off, and we will see you all tomorrow. Unless you have any questions.